Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. Up at the crack of dawn today, 4 a.m. As I said many times, your sleep schedule could be a little bit whack on an awakening. This video, I want to talk to you a little bit about something that I've talked to you about time and time again, but I'm not going to shut up about it. And that's the war on emotions that's currently happening in our society at this present moment in time. This war on emotions has been going on for a long period of time. It is an ancestral wound that has been passed down from generation to generation and generation after that. This wound has said, no, you're not allowed to feel your emotions. You are disordered. There's something wrong with you. You can't do that. Cap on. Get out of this. Move on. Let go. Why are you wallowing in self-pity? That happened in the past. It's not even relevant anymore. Yeah, we're not doing any of those minimizing, shame-inducing, insulting types of sentences anymore. The war on the emotion has to stop. What it has done successfully and is to keep people in a place of disempowerment. So everybody talks about, I want to step into my highest and greatest good. I want to be in my high vibe. I want to this. Well, the path to get through to there, the path of enlightenment is littered with tears. It is littered with expressing all of the emotions that you need to express. And the reason for that is because to become enlightened means you need to become lighter of all the denser energies. And energy or emotions are energy in motion. Emotion. So energy moves in emotion like this. It flows, it ebbs and flows, it contracts, it expands. That's what energy does. I'm not a physicist, so if you want to get into the processes of energetic movement, please find a physicist to back up my theories. But energy, such as emotional energy, is no different than any other form of energy. But what we have been learned or trained to do, indoctrinated to do over our lifetime is to repress, depress, deny, distort, numb. All of the ways that we use to keep all of our emotions at bay, because our emotions are our unprocessed trauma. Everybody has trauma. Everybody. It's impossible for any human being on this planet today to go through this experience called life and not have experienced some trauma. Trauma can be broken down into multiple forms of trauma. We have big T traumas, which is sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, abandonment, all big T traumas. We have small T traumas, such as being perhaps bullied, failing tests, falling off a bicycle, getting bitten by a snake. Now you have a terrifying fear of snakes. We have ancestral traumas, which means our lineage, the generational traumas that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. In my family, we don't hug. In my family, we don't express our emotions. In my family, we don't talk about air our dirty laundry in public. We don't this, we don't that. Yes, those are all the generational wounds that have been passed down from generation to generation through your DNA as well as through your familial practices within the home. So both, environment as well as the actual genetic predisposition for things. So some of your fears might have happened to your grandfather. You have a fear of swimming. I don't know why you have a fear of swimming. It just came from someone. Well, maybe your grandfather died swimming, and so the family has passed down this fear through the lineage. We also have cultural traumas on mass levels. So these are within a cultural framework. So the Native American population, the Black population, all have huge cultural traumas that have been passed down through colonialism. That didn't do much for our emotional centers. We had a lot of horrific experiences through that have been also embedded into the family line. So on the whole, you've got a cultural trauma, and within the family, you've got a family line trauma. We also have birth traumas. If your mother had a particularly difficult birth, giving birth to you, that could have been a trauma. Do you know what your birth was like? That could have been difficult. Within the womb, you're already experiencing things. So if your mother, whilst pregnant, fell down a flight of stairs or was mugged or had some other, you're carrying that trauma as well. So we are all full of trauma. Trauma, 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 and more trauma. And on your awakening, the barrier between you and your trauma, because you had this nice little ego that took a step forward and said, right, I'm going to protect you and your consciousness from ever going behind this wall and seeing all these traumas. Everything's fine. Don't look away. I'm fine. You know the definition of fine? Fucked up, irrational, neurotic, and emotional. That's fine. So if you catch yourself saying, I'm fine, trust me, you're not. So this war on emotions has been keeping us in a state of repression. And what do we do to repress? Well, we use any number of insane coping mechanisms to deal with the suffering. And so addictions is not a problem with the drug. It's a problem with it's a solution to the suffering, right? It's a solution to the suffering. It's not a good solution, but it's the best one that you had when you had it. So smoking, I did a video a while back, and check it out in the chakra playlist called Fears and Addictions of Each Chakra. I highly recommend that video. In fact, I'll tag it at the end of this. Because every single addiction that you have, and addictions doesn't just mean substances, it could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be working too much, it could be going to the gym too much and obsessively needing to be at the gym 5 hours a day because your body needs to be in a certain state of look. It could be addictions to people, to relationships, codependency. I know all about that one. So please check out my trauma bond list if people happens to be your problem. We could be addicted to religions. We could be addicted to beliefs. We could be very dogmatic in our approaches. This needs to be like this, and this is the way it's done, and if it's not done, well, that's an addiction to control. Addiction and all of these ways are an attempt to repress the emotions, the emotional realm. So everything that we are working to distort, distract, gaming, watch video games, celebrity culture, athletic pursuits, if we're all looking at here, then I don't need to look within and don't need to deal with my emotions. And then when others show up with emotions, I'm going to get uncomfortable around emotions, and so I'm going to shut them down. Tell them that they have a problem. You really should get over that already. Why are you still thinking about that? How come you haven't moved on yet? All of those types of sentences tells me that that person hasn't sat in their emotions. Because people can only meet you as much as they've met themselves. And if they haven't done the work themselves to go into the shadow and sit with their emotions and process their emotions and clear the traumas and do the work, then they can't hold space for anyone else. So if you're looking for others around you to hold space for you, to show you compassion, to show you empathy, you might be barking up the wrong tree. You might even find it difficult to find that type of compassion and care within medical centers, because they're going to look at you from a body point of view. They're not going to look at you from an emotional point of view, and they're not going to look at you from a soul point of view, because we've dissected the person into segments in Western culture, which means I'm just looking at your physical body. I'm not going to take into consideration if you have an excess of emotions, that has to be a disorder, and therefore here, take this prescription. That's the best that I can do for you. Maybe you go to a counselor and even you have emotions negated, because if your counselor themselves hasn't done the work that they need to do in their own lives to deal with their own traumas, then they're going to find it very difficult to hold space for you and yours. And so if you, in your emotions that are trying to process, or experiencing a lot of rage, you may not get the validation that you need or seek. So do make sure that you are seeking treatment, as well as seeking counseling from individuals that have an understanding of the emotional realm. There are specific counselors that are trained to do this, and then there are others that aren't. You know, you could spend a lifetime, like I did, going to counselors, venting about your problems and never getting anywhere, because you're not actually dealing with any of the underlying emotions. So, how do we learn to have emotions? How do we learn to feel when our entire lives we've been told to not feel? We've been shamed about our feelings. We feel guilt about our feelings. I shouldn't feel like this. I should be high five only. Even in spiritual communities, when you're seeking out, the amount of nonsense that I've read as of late in regards to emotions has boggled my mind. So be very cognizant of the fact that your emotions are sacred. They are sacred. Not everyone has the capacity to hold space for you, but you can hold space for you. You can relearn to hold space from you. You can reparent, reprogram yourself through any emotion. It's going to take practice, no different than anything else. Our emotional centers have become atrophied. When you don't use something, it becomes atrophied. And so we need to practice at it, practice at allowing ourselves to feel. Practice at showing ourselves compassion when we do feel. Practice at not letting our inner critic tear us down while we are feeling. Practice at giving ourselves a safe space for us to emote. Your bedroom, a private room, put on some soft music, listen to my affirmations. I did a video a while back, reparenting through difficult emotions, where I guide you through it, to hear the validation that maybe you never heard in your entire life. Make your own videos or your own recordings of yourself talking to your inner child, so that your inner child can hear comforting, soothing phrases. It's okay. This too will pass. You're expressing emotions. You're allowed to feel fear. It is safe to feel fear. It is safe to feel rage. You're allowed to feel rage. It is safe to feel anger. It is safe to feel anxiety. You are safe. You are in your room. You are safe. You are safe here now. You can express it. Nobody is going to punish you for expressing your emotions. You can emote. You're doing a good job. This too shall pass. You are safe. Those types of sentences will really assist you. Set a timer. Set a timer for 25 minutes and say to yourself, for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to feel fully. I'm going to let myself really, truly feel. What is it that I'm feeling? Identify it. Where does it live in your body? Oh, I'm feeling anxiety. It lives right here in my chest. Put your hands to where you can feel it in your body and send yourself love and compassion and care. Soothe yourself through the emotions. 25 minutes, we're going to allow ourselves to feel what we need to feel. Express what we need to express. If you feel rage, find ways to release the rage. Go to a Wreck-It room. That was super fun. Dance. Do a one person, I've said this multiple times, dance like, put on some Metallica or something and dance it out. Write a hate mail, express. I did a series of videos a while back called The Manifestations of Dis-ease in the Chakra System and Healing Practices. Check out the chakra playlist. And there is over 10 hours of content identifying where you are having a blockage in your emotional system will assist you in finding the right video that you need to pay attention to. But I'm going to hazard a guess that we should all start with the root chakra because we need to learn to feel safe. We need to feel grounded and give ourselves that space to be able to emote. So in creating a strong and healthy root chakra, feeling grounded on the earth, we then can provide ourselves with the sacral chakra's emotional center so we're safe to emote, we're safe to cry, we're safe to wail. You are safe having emotions. Emotions are natural functions of your human body. No one would tell you to stop peeing. No one. If they did, they'd be fired from their job. But when we tell people to stop emoting, it is the same as telling people to stop urinating. That would cause all numbers of problems, just like ceasing to emote has caused a huge amount of problems for you. If you need help in the process of emoting, I also have a playlist called Emotions. Please feel free to hop in that and find a plethora of videos validating your experience. Your experience of grief is allowed. Your experience of sorrow is allowed. Your experience of feeling lonely is allowed. Your experience of feeling anxiety is allowed. Your experience of feeling any feeling is allowed. I will never, ever tell you that you shouldn't be emoting, that it should take a quicker amount of time. It will take as long as it takes. This awakening process is difficult and arduous. If you visualize yourself as a caterpillar going into its cocoon, whilst in its cocoon, it turns to goo. So if you are in your goo phase right here, right now, be proud of yourself. Be the best goo that you can be. Be gooey, be wet, be snotty, be in authenticity. Allow yourself to feel what you need to feel so that it can finally be healed and cleared out of your body. This is the enlightenment process. You cannot get to high vibes only, powerful bliss, and all the upper emotions without transmuting through all of the lower ones, all of the frequencies of all of the emotions. Because the emotions are all energy. So you need to climb the ladder. It's like on a radio, you need to slowly twist up to get you to where you want to get. So that means going through the root chakra clearings. It means going through the sacral chakra, wet emotions. It means going through the fiery emotions. It means going through the blockages in the heart so that we can start finding compassion. And when we find compassion for ourselves, we can find compassion for others. When we find love for ourselves, we can have love for others. This is the path of your awakening. This is the path of enlightenment, is through the emotional body. First, we need to get our physical body in alignment, and then we need to get our emotional body in alignment. This is the process. It is called the purge. It is called the dark night of the soul. It is called purification. It is called shit. It's not a fun experience. You don't have to like being in bad or negative or wet or fiery emotions, but you have to do it anyways. You have to say to yourself, I'm here on this planet to experience, and I'm going to experience it fully. Whatever it is, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, I'm going to allow myself to feel. I hope all of that doesn't sound a little bit too like I'm hitting you over the head with the fry pan, but I'm kind of hitting you over with the head with the fry pan. Because I am taking on this war against emotions, and I'm saying no more. Absolutely no more. I will not be shamed. I will not be silenced. I will not feel embarrassed. I will not feel anything that says that my right to emote isn't something I am fundamentally allowed to do. There is a difference between having a right to emote and a right to react. I'm not talking about giving you permission to go punch somebody in the face. That would be reactionary. I'm giving you the permission to feel like you want to punch somebody in the face. Doesn't mean you're going to do it. There is a difference between feeling and then actions. Feeling is you're entitled to have rage. If there has been an experience that has elicited you a rageful sensation inside of you, maybe it's like, I need to get away from this. I'm putting up a boundary. Heck no, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to free myself from this abuse. Use the rage for positive actions. So emotions are not your gateway to behave in an inappropriate manner. Emotions, when you give yourself to experience them, helps you identify the appropriate action that's required. All emotions serve function. Even the hate-filled ones, they serve a function that says, get the hell out of here. This isn't where you belong. It doesn't mean get up in somebody's grill and scream at them saying, I hate you. No, it means I have the right to feel hatred towards you. And so now I'm going to love myself enough to move away from you. So all emotions, every single last one of them, has a value. There are no negative emotions. They all are messengers explaining to you that action steps need to be taken, but you need to sit in them so that you know the appropriate action steps to be taken and aren't being responsive. So reactionary abuse, you're not being explosive from the emotion. You take a time out, you go within, you sit with it, you commune with it, you talk with it. And then you make an appropriate action step based on the work that you have done in the emotional realm. So one of my favorite sentences that I used to use was, I need to process through this. So if somebody says something to you, or you have a situation that's highly triggering, bring out your, I need to process through this. Do not respond for 24 hours. Do not respond for 48 hours. Do not respond for a week if you need a week. I need to process through this, and then I will know the correct thing to say and or do. If you need me to help you through this process, I can hold space for you in any emotion. I can validate any emotion because all emotions are valid. Not all actions are valid, but all emotions are indeed valid. If you want to book a one-on-one with me to help unpack some of these emotions that you have been denying and repressing all of your life, feel free to reach out and book with me. All of my services are donation-based. I thank you greatly for all the shares that get this message out there, because I feel at the present moment in time like I am one of a collection of maybe 10 people that agree with me compared to the entire establishment of the entire world that still believes that emotions are somehow undesirable and therefore negative and therefore problematic and therefore disordered. They are none of those things. They are human function. So, please emote. I am proud of you for emoting. You are doing warrior work when you are emoting. Emoting, energy in motion, is the way on the path to enlightenment. I'm sending you all my absolute love. And I feel like, since it's kind of like a bit of a video where I'm smacking you on the head, I'm going to pull one card for us today from the bitch slaps from the universe, because something wants to be expressed here. So why not? I'm going to just add this in in case my words have not been hard-hitting enough to alleviate the guilt that you may be experiencing, the shame that you need to experience. Even guilt and shame have their value when you sit with them. You understand them. You know, guilt and shame are tools that the ego has used. And there we go. Tools that the ego has used to keep your emotions at bay because you were told you weren't allowed to do that. So they were trying to protect you, your guilt and your shame. So thank you, guilt and shame, for what you tried to do. You are now retired. You may vamoose down to Mexico and live your life in retirement. Guilt and shame, I no longer need your services. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. I retire you. That negative voice in your head that you've been pushing away for days, it's your fucking inner child wanting attention. So stop fucking ignoring it and give some love to yourself. Your inner child needs to be heard. Your inner child needs to be loved. Your inner child needs to be comforted in all the ways that she or he never received. She needs to be held. He needs to be soothed. He needs to be told it's okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay to be angry. It's okay. You're not going to get in trouble. You are safe. You are loved. You are lovable. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are justified. You are okay. That's the message today. Love the fuck out of that inner child. Because in doing so, you're learning to love the fuck out of yourself. Peace out.